Play it with Xbox Game Pass.
Okay, hello everybody. This one I'm doing a little differently. I'm going through this with you live as I view the content. I want this to be as fresh as and exciting for you as it is for me. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Microsoft Flight Simulator News Dispatcher for the date of August the 29th, 2019. In today's episode, we'll be looking at the greatest and the latest updates from Microsoft on their new and upcoming simulator, starting with the Insider Group content. So when you come to their webpage, they've got a few buttons across the top: Home, Insider Home, and Insider FAQ. Now, if you're not yet signed up to the Insider Home, you won't get access to the content that I'm about to show you. If you are an insider, this will look totally familiar to you. It's August the 29th, 2019, and this is an insider update. So it basically states that on September the 12th, which is in 2 weeks' time, we will be starting recruitment for Tech Alpha, and users will be able to access the sign-up link from the insider area. You'll fill out a brief survey regarding machine specs, and then you'll be entered into the recruitment pool. And then closer to the time of end of September, that recruitment pool will close, or the recruitment period. So you've got basically about 2 weeks to be able to recruit, which you'll be given the link to on September the 12th. So there's new content update from today from earlier builds. So the content we're about to go across and have a look at, these are from the earlier builds within like the first quarter of the year, like February and March. The team will continue to post throughout the development timeline, and we expect to mix in current build content in our next update, which that's good news. So basically all the videos, all the images that we have been seeing have been older previous builds. And when I say build, I mean the sim that they're pulling this information from, the pictures, the videos. It's called a build when you have a current version and then you change it for the next version. It's called a build. So far they've been giving us old build, content, but next update we'll be getting current build content, which will be even more exciting than this one. So if you do click Insider Home, this is the page you're presented with here, and you've got basically what I just said at the top, and then some screenshots and some videos down below. Now if you scroll right down, you'll see the archive of the Insider. So this is last week's, and then that's the week before. We've kind of seen this, the development roadmap. So if you've clicked on this and had a look at it, it probably won't make that much sense to you, but with the advent of today's release, it makes a whole lot more sense, and I'm going to go through it now. But first, we've got a few new videos to watch. Now, we've seen these ones. These were showcased last week, but these three here are brand new. So what we're going to do is we're going to play them a few times and check them out. Ooh, very nice. So what we got here, twin engine prop plane flying over what looks like maybe a northern part of America, or even Europe. And let me just pause it for a second. So one thing that I noticed straight away from this shot, plane looks very nice with all the reflections, but also the lighting, the night lighting in particular, stretches all the way out to the distance there, and it has, you can see down here, the street lighting and the home lighting as well as this amazing fog, volumetric fog that's poured over the landscape, making any landing here very precocious. Now, another thing that does stand out, which I'll get, let me just move it down a bit further, is this hillside here. If you look at the grassy area, it kind of looks very low resolution, polygon texturing, and then you've got the build of the trees scattered all over the hillside. To me, this really brings it and sort of reminds me of that Microsoft Flight that we had in 2014. If you've ever played that, you'll understand what I mean. This reminds me so much of the way that they handled the landscape in that game. But this looks very nice. The sky and the colors, it's all really nice. I like this video. It's very nice. Let's have a look at this one now. There doesn't seem to be any sound with any of these videos, but oh hello. This one is probably my favorite one. This is absolutely amazing. Now, this one gives us so much by giving us so little. Well, I'm gonna have to watch this 3 times, I think, because there was a moment, I don't know if it was my computer or the video, but I think I just saw a stutter. Could this be the beginning of the stutters? I'll show you what I mean. Just as it came down here, it stuttered about now. There you go. You just saw it. Yes, there is a stutter. So whoever made this video, and all these videos come from, you know, beta or alpha rather testers, pushed the sim to its limits. You know, piled the rain on, got in an aircraft, dive bombed the ground, and then flipped it over to really put it through its paces. This is probably a really intensive. Now, the one thing I like, let me pause it, is the ground looks great, but the weathering effects, this true glass type of thing, really adds to the immersion of what we're looking outside. But I don't know if you saw that then. Here, on this cockpit here, it's like there was almost like breath appear. So just keep your eye here. See that? It almost looks like, that for me is a very big detail that I've not seen in flight simulation. Amazing. This is a very interesting video. But looking at the dials a bit more in the cockpit, let's see here. Guys going quite yet. Of course, you can't see the heading indicator. That's one thing that stands out to me, is that there's no heading indicator here, completely not being used, which is a big question. The GPS isn't active at all. This is very strange. These gauges worked, but these don't. See, that to me stands out as what? Very interesting. But I love the video. I do like, especially the light. Play it one more time. But the light in this corner here, that just, when he turns around, look at that. Boom, right there. The very end. Very nice. And the final video we've got. Now, before I even play the video, this looks a lot like FSX Water. I use FSX still today, and I have an add-on that looks exactly like the texturing on this. Obviously this looks a lot better because it's 4K, but it's got a lot of specular detail, but that just reminds me so much of FSX. Oh hello. I'll pause the video back on that bit. Looks like someone's name. Yeah, very interesting. One thing I noticed about this water is it actually behaves in the exact same way as FSX. and the water contains within there, which to me is quite surprising. I just want to, looks like someone's name is here in the sand. I wonder if it does say anything. I think what we need to do is get somebody to get a screen grab and just run this through Photoshop, because I reckon there is a message there. Yeah. So what did I mean with the water? Okay, so if you check out this region, as the camera tilts up, you'll notice the water as it hits the shore does not react in the same way it should, and it reacts in the same way as our current simulators do. Look at that. Do you see that? Very interesting. It looks really nice, but it does look FSXy in my eyes. And I love the clouds. I think the clouds here are fantastic, very volumetric, very soft, like cotton, and yet highly detailed, especially when it opens up and then you see all this. Look at that. Gosh, look at that. Let me just, oop. It's beating me. Look at all that there. It's almost like, oh, very godlike. Right. So that's all the videos we've had. Now these pictures, we've seen these before. There's nothing new here, but we do have two more images, two brand new images, which almost looks like it could be a plane very similar to the one we saw in the video, going over perhaps America and the farmlands. This reminds me a lot of our current simulator landscapes, the fields, a lot of autogen, but autogen that perhaps is not added on top of tiles, but actually a part of the landscape, the part of the model, part of the texture, like Google Maps type of thing. There's a lot of lovely detail here, and 4K really brings it up. And then we've got this one. This one's typically going over Africa, and I'm excited for these sand dunes. Look at these proper sand dunes. We've not had proper sand dunes in any simulator so far. Very interesting. And of course the old MGS8 livery there. Yeah, very beautiful. So this is all the insider home information. If you click on the actual website, it'll bring you to this page, and they finally, now, this was previously available in the insider home section, but now they've put it on the front, which is exactly what they said they would do. Development roadmap release, general release. We've seen the internal flighting, which is basically the alpha team, tech alpha team, showing off new pictures and videos. So anytime you see tech alpha in future things here, it's going to be that. And then of course you've got the build program update. Where are they? They've done another update, and the stuff that we've seen is from previous builds, and it looks like on September the 12th we're going to be able to get recruited, or people will be able to be recruited to join this tech alpha team, which will eventually become the beta team, and that might go on for some time, even till next year. If you have to pay or not, that's another thing, we don't know. But this is all this, what you see here is the media update. So every time you see media update, this is what it is. They're just releasing info. Now there is some words on the front page as well, which I'll quickly go over. It says, wandering into the grass of irrelevancy, attempting to flush out the rodents of inaccuracy in order to bring you the real news. So basically this is having a dig at people who have been spreading inaccurate claims in the social media market, and they've given you the real news. So as we bring August to a close, the team wanted to provide a few quick updates and some new content. The development roadmap is now on general release, and they've added a few updates for September to improve clarity. So if we look at September, that's really the external recruitment is the only thing that's been added. I'll be interested about this feature discovery series. It says web post timing. They're basically, because they're based in America in the Pacific time, they understand that people who are in the European timeline get those updates late, and so they're going to be posting their updates slightly earlier now to allow people in Europe to get them at a reasonable time rather than have to wait another 12 hours and then see other people's postings. There's been the build program update, so basically they're telling us that we can start signing up or recruiting for the Tech Alpha. And they also talk about the feature discovery series, which is quite interesting, and the first of it will kick off in early October. The feature discovery series will preview in September, launch in October, and it's a deep dive into the areas of simulation driven by a number of threads we've seen across the forums that they follow closely. And we were on track to provide a preview at the end of September. This to me basically sounds like either a YouTube channel or some sort of app that they'll roll out that we can get content in the video form where certain subjects are highlighted. They might talk about airports, they might talk about planes, there might be like a discussion of the week, and they've been doing their research, they've been watching forums very closely, wanting to find out what people are really interested in. This is the kind of stuff you do when you're creating a business plan. You do your market research, and I get the feeling that this is exactly what they're doing, creating a business plan for this Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is now speculation, but I really believe this is a YouTube channel where we're going to all be hooked on watching, and that's also going to help to fund the Microsoft Flight Simulator. And that's just telling us about what we've already seen just now. So the next update for Microsoft Flight Simulator will be coming in 2 weeks' time. Now, next week there will be an update from the News Dispatch. Basically, I would like you to pose a question to Microsoft about Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you could ask them anything, what would it be? What would you want to ask them? And we'll compile a list of questions in the comments below. I'll read them out in next week's show, and I will send them off to Microsoft. And this will be your opportunity to voice a concern or to ask about clarity on something, or just general wonderment, and we'll let Microsoft know. Also, next week I'm going to discuss, there was a poll done by a developer, and they posted their results, and they're very interesting, and I'm going to go through that with you next week whilst we wait for September the 12th, because I think the results that this developer got from the poll just has a lot of interesting data contained within it about the flight sim community. So thanks for watching this. Stay tuned for next week, and I'll see everyone later. Bye bye.